We'll see what happens. My eyes are immediately drawn to Firebat's list that he brought a druid and a rogue, no warlock and no hunter for Firebat.
Yeah, that's definitely an unusual take for a lineup because I think most people agreed that Warlock was the third deck to bring. But Firebat chose otherwise and said, I'm just going to go with Rogue and Druid. Two decks that have been under fire, whether or not they're even worthy of being considered fourth decks. And yet he has both.
You'd think out of Hunter and Warlock, you'd at least bring one, right? Which has been the theme for the day. His warrior does get through, but that's almost like PNC saying, "All right, you can have your warrior win, fine. I'm just gonna be happy to play against the Hunter and the Druid after that."
Yeah.
Speaking of PNC.
PNC is playing the Demon Hunter, Warlock, and Hunter, which, if I am reading this right, for the first time all weekend, we'll have 6 unique classes being played in the series. Because Warrior was banned from PNC, and Demon Hunter was banned for Firebat, which would mean that the remaining classes here are the 6 unique classes that we see represented right now in the Grandmasters metagame for Americas.
Yeah, you're correct. This is going to be a really interesting match. So for the first time today, no chance of a mirror. Maybe not for the first time, but the first time I can remember in the last 5 minutes, which is about as far back as my memory goes. No chance for a mirror in this match anyway. Let's take a look at the Spell Druid for Firebat. Anything stand out to you there?
Yeah, the first thing that stands out to me is that he is also playing Kael'thas, and he's also playing Gift of the Wild. This is a throwback deck list, which is kind of interesting given that we also saw a few other deck lists be giving a rework, and I think it is entirely predicated on the fact that Warlock is popular with its rise of AoE. And cards like Gift of the Wild with Kael'thas give you a chance to build up really big boards, so that way Crazed Netherwing can't blow it out. So I think that this deck list is better versus the Quest Warlock lists. And incidentally, Gift of the Wild might also just happen to be good in the mirror, because if you get ahead, you stay ahead with cards like that.
Yeah, very true. I'll have to see how it performs. Meanwhile, we do have the Quest Warlock for PNC. And just looking through this really quick, going at the one Questing Explorer package, adding in the Acidic Swamp Ooze. Aside from that, fairly standard stuff. Double Soulfire, 1 Sense Demons.
Yeah, 1 Sense Demons is pretty standard. This looks actually a pretty stock list. Variations tend to be like Soulfires, the Acidic Swamp Ooze, whether or not you want to double up on Questing Explorer. Some people choose to play even just heavier top end. I know that some people highly value the curve aspect of Warlock, believing that because there's so much aggression on the ladder, you actually don't try to prioritize finishing the quest. You just need to have substance to play. And therefore, some people choose to play Siamat as a 7-mana minion because there's a hole there from turn 6 to 8. So
sure, I can see that.
There's some people who have climbed the top 10 legend with those deck lists. I played it pretty extensively with that version of it, and CMI was surprisingly very impressive because it just not only did it give you curve opportunities, it's solid as a defensive minion if you need to use Taunt, Divine Shield in pinch scenarios, and also it's a fantastic minion to tome into when you finish the quest. So it was overall a much more reasonable card instead of just a meme card, which I kind of thought it was.
Interesting. Has anyone brought that this weekend? I don't think I've seen it, but now that you're talking about it, I'm like, I kind of want to throw that into my deck on the ladder.
It's not super common. I usually like remembering who innovates what deck and what specific tech cards, but it's slipping my mind right now on who actually played that list. But I don't think anyone brought it to. Definitely no one brought it to Americas. And I'd be surprised if it was brought in other regions, because I think the reason why it is good for climbing the ladder is because you have to account for a range of possibilities. But when you're going to ban Warrior, and that you only have to worry about Demon Hunter, you can narrow your tech a lot more.
Right. Well, the question remains, who is going to take this series? PNC, of course, fighting for his life. Purple, though, watching and cheering for his buddy Firebat.
Well, we've seen we've seen some banned Demon Hunter strategies work throughout the weekend, but on average,
Sure.
they haven't been. So, the first thing I want to say is that PNC seems to be doing the same thing Nagadan is, which is to bring the core 4 decks, which is what most people are bringing right now, Hunter, Warlock, Demon Hunter, and Warrior, and then ban Demon Hunter and try to utilize, Quest Warlock and Highlander Hunter to try and beat that Warrior, because Demon Hunter is very good against classes like Hunter, so you have to cover its weaknesses a little bit more. It's a little bit of a controversial lineup decision, because I think a lot of people feel like Demon Hunter might just be straight up busted, so people want to ban it. But they also think Warrior is like even harder to beat. So it really comes down to like what kind of few percentage points you want to land. The one thing I want to say to wrap up this very long-winded explanation is that I think that it's worth taking risks, because we've discussed it a few times, but if you just kind of copy what other people are doing, you're just going to have a 50% chance, and you have to live with that consequence. And I think PNC, Nagadan, and a few others who are deviating from this strategy, we've seen it work out. So I appreciate the risk taking here from PNC.
All right. Well, we're about to see if it pays off as we're getting ready to get into game number 1. It's going to be Firebat's Spell Druid versus the Quest Warlock of PNC. Frodan, I'll ask you your first World of Warcraft lore quiz question. It's Hearthstone related. Which expansion was Garrosh Hellscream the final raid boss of?
Garrosh Hellscream, Warlords of Draenor? Wasn't that a Garrosh themed expansion?
It's a good guess, but I believe it was actually Mists of Pandaria.
Well, Garrosh is always messing stuff up, so I just assume he's
true.
He just doesn't die either, apparently.
He's there's some kind of alternate dimension and time travel stuff going on in there, so he does, but it may not mean he won't be around in the next expansion sometimes. He's gone now, though, I think, for now, in this dimension.
Yeah, until we bring back whatever next WoW expansion we have. So
nobody's ever really gone in World of Warcraft. That's what we've learned. Yeah.
That's right. What is even death?
Yeah, not
victory
much.
or time travel, I believe.
Death is
what
just like
Garrosh says,
running back to your body boringly for a minute or two. That's all death is in WoW.
Yeah. While your ghost kind of gets danced on.
Yeah. As usual. Yeah.
All right. So here we go. Game number 1. We have the Druid with a double overgrowth hand here for Firebat.
Yep.
Not really that great, to be honest. He needs card draw. Big problem with some of these ramp hands is that you don't get to do anything afterwards.
Yeah, you ramp into a lot of mana, and then you just kind of say, hey, I'm the Scrooge McDuck of mana. I've got a lot hoarded, but I'm not doing much with it.
There was this Hearthstone League from back in the day as PNC picks up this Questing Explorer. It actually is a really good draw. I think you should consider playing it here. There's a Hearthstone League years back that Admirable casted that used to track unspent mana as like as a data point.
That's really interesting, actually.
Yeah, it's like a statistic that was brought up, like how often are people spending their mana. But it was like a flawed statistic, because that means if you ever play Druid and you don't hit your curve, you're gonna be like you're just naturally gonna have a worse stat line than other people. So
then there was like Quest Druid, right, where in the recent meta earlier this year, where you purposefully didn't spend some of your mana each turn.
Right, exactly.
So that's an interesting stat, but I can see how different decks really skew it into not being very reliable.
Theoretically,
cool
it's
idea,
like a
though.
good measure of like how efficient people are, right? But yeah, sometimes it doesn't work out.
Of course, it's the right way.
That's the thing, though, with sports in general. You think you've come up with like the most awesome stat, and then there's then somebody says like the really obvious thing that totally negates it, and you're like, oh.
Yep. Welcome to Esports production rooms, where it's like everyone's coming up with really cool ideas, and then it's like, well, if XYZ happens,
well, that doesn't work at all, actually.
Yeah.
That is definitely what it's like behind the scenes.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, PNC ends up going for the reverse order, playing Questing Adventure second after life tap. I think, well, the difference was 2 damage. I don't think that's super impactful. It's only impactful if he need to get ahead of any 3/2 minions, but it doesn't seem like Firebat was in the position to do that.
Not really.
Also would have been better against any type of like innervate glowfly swarm turns.
Mm-hmm. I wonder too, Gul'dan. I wonder if maybe you just plot twist here.
Yeah, so this is turn 7. Firebat has... He still has that overgrowth. I really wish that I paid attention to the mulligan a little bit more. I'm actually going to go back into the YouTube stream because you can see it. And Firebat did end up keeping that overgrowth. But the question is, did he play that overgrowth that he kept? Because if he didn't, then it's like kind of messing with PNC like, oh, is he holding anything? Wait, wow. Oh my gosh, PNC just passed?
Yeah. Just straight up pass.
Whoa.
Well, that is
Wow, that's a
wise?
really interesting turn there. And I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that.
More mana for Firebat. Still waiting for some things to spend it on, though, of course.
Well, he needs to dump his hand before he can play Overflow. But, like, PNC held his hand because he has AoE and removal, but he just lost a ton of progress on his quest.
Well, he had 9 cards. He didn't want to drop to 10 and then have to drop something needlessly. But, again, that's kind of why I was thinking plot twist, because you look at that hand, and you still look at this hand, and you're like, all right, yeah, I've got a lot of good stuff, but I'm holding myself back so much from completing my deck's primary objective, which is to finish the quest, that you have to just kind of believe that you're going to draw more answers. You've got so much removal in this deck. I think you can plot twist here and be confident that you'll find answers to whatever they happen to put down. The longer you wait, the worse it's going to be.
Yeah, I think now you do plot twist, right? But now it's like...
Now for sure, yeah.
Yeah. And it's not one of those things where you can afford to not do because you just don't want to acknowledge what happened the previous turn. But I appreciate what PNC's head's at, though, right? Like, let's talk about like what he's trying to do. He was trying to be prepared for Firebat's huge Kael'thas swing turn because he had Nether Breaths, he had Dark Skies, he had all of the goods.
Right.
Okay. Oh, okay. Here's another plot twist. You throw it out there.
Just finish it. Coin into second plot twist.
Yeah, because then you can start immediately tapping and have higher impact.
I actually like that line of play a lot, but PNC not able to get to that in time. It could have been a case, too, where he just didn't actually have all the cards. Well, no, he played the Ooze, so I don't know. It's over now, but one wonders.
I think if he had more time, he could have optimized that turn a little bit more, because the coin here doesn't really matter, except unless he's going to coin Twisting Nether. Yeah. But we're several turns away from that possibility. It's easier for us to say because obviously we can see Firebat's hand, so you know PNC shouldn't be nearly as afraid. But this kind of speaks to me that PNC came today with the mentality of do not get relegated. Kind of your best to avoid it. Play it safe. Don't take unnecessary risks. And
sometimes the double-edged sword of that is that you don't take risks. You come prepared, but then you kind of overdo it, right? You get into your own head. You don't make those aggressive plays that, may be a little bit risky, but can, win you a lot of games at Hearthstone sometimes.
Right. I mean, we throw out this nebulous term called percentage points. Are you giving up percentage points by taking it too safe? Because obviously it's not a game-losing decision by any means. He very well might win this game anyways because it's Quest Warlock. But it's one of those things where did he give himself less options or chances to do that?
Right.
He has an opportunity, I think, to finish this quest right here, obviously with the plot twist, but I was thinking Dark Skies can come out here with the Sense Demons. That's a possibility. Maybe if he doesn't want to draw the Brood Mothers unless he has health to lose or to regain.
I think that's kind of the negative part about Sense Demons is that you do waste a little bit of that. But then again, you could say the same thing about plot twist, right? All right. Just building the 8/8. Trying to get Firebat to respond to him a little bit more.
Oh my. This is looking good for Firebat. The Ysera Unleashed comes down relatively uncontested.
Yeah.
And he can start immediately drawing cards if he so desires.
Do you think you'd do that? Ysera into like the Fungal Fortunes?
He's still holding the coin. He did plot twist though. Okay, so if you knew that he was still holding the coin, which Firebat has no intel anymore because the plot twist came down.
Right.
Coin twisting nether is very much a threat. So I think because you don't know if that's a possibility, I feel more comfortable going for it.
True, we know the twisting nether is in there, but at least this will draw it out, you know?
Right.
Dream portal. Number 1. Alright.
Oh, Death Rattle Dragons.
Huh.
So Bronze Herald puts 2 dragons in your hand.
That might not be something Firebat wants.
Right.
Or even can receive. Oh, no, he can, I guess. Alright, well.
He would have to dump an extra card here if he wanted to avoid that. But PNC has this coin twisting nether. The only thing is that does give up his own board, right? Like his 8/8 dies in the process, so it's not like a clean exchange. But I mean, the upside is you remove all these other dragons. So.
You could get 2 damage to face at least.
I like that you look for the silver lining in those things. The 2 damage in the face.
Hey, damage to face always feels good, right? Job's done. In Hearthstone.
Yeah, for sure.
Twisting nether, as you'd expect. Still a good amount of portals. Oh no! Oh,
well, you know what? It's okay. I mean, he has full 10 mana. Kael'thas wasn't going for the big Gift of the Wild turn. He's got Soul of the Forest anyways.
Better than a Mountain Bender, or Mount Seller, rather.
And now he's got the Power of the Wild, so he stopped any Morg, Artificer, Rain of Fire. PNC does have Sense Demons, though, and double Rain of Fire.
He does.
But he was really hoping to just have that be good enough. Now it isn't.
And again, if you sense demons and you draw 2 Broodmothers, then you're in trouble.
I wonder.
Which is also the possibility, because you get 0 benefit from that, and you could play one, but oh no, you can't even play one. That'd just be bad. It'd just be a sad situation. He's counting out the possible lethal next turn.
Yeah, he's also counting how much damage he has with the Dark Skies.
Right.
It's not a lot.
It's gonna plot twist.
Wow, that is optimistic. But
I mean, I guess it's good if you find a Praise Netherwing. That solves a lot of the problem. He does finish the quest as well.
Oh,
that works. All right.
That helps a lot.
Yeah, take that. Leaves a bunch of 2/2s out, but still.
Right. But he dealt with the first half, which was part of the problem. He couldn't actually, in his mind, reliably deal with it.
Right, and that does also remove, another 7 damage just by lowering them from 3 3s down to 2 2s.
Right. Problem still remains, though. PNC does not have an AoE clear.
Yes, that is a problem. What does Wrath bring to Firebat? It is going to be
Draw
Moonfire.
more cards.
All right.
And can draw more cards.
Yep. Gotta find something.
I think this Rising Winds, if it doesn't land anything else substantial, like another Soul of the Forest or Savage Roar, I think he should consider plopping Bronze Dragon.
Yep.
And now he has the Mount Seller for even more reload, so PNC's troubles are just beginning.
Yep. We're just multiplying at this point. Mortal Coil, oh, not the AoE drop he was looking for,
Okay.
but
Tap.
you definitely have a chance of drawing into something.
There's a lot of
Hero
good draws
power.
actually here. There's Rain of Fire, there's Netherwing, there's honestly Dark Skies is totally fine too.
Yeah.
Wait, no, it's not nearly as good because of his own Moarg.
That's true.
Really?
And I guess Dark Skies, well, I mean, you do... Yeah, the Morag makes it a little bit better, but...
So,
Oh, wow.
this Mortal Coil, I think if he draws, maybe he's seeing if he can activate a Zephyrus. No, he drew the Netherwing.
Well, I mean, this means he can clear the board at least.
Yeah, but why wouldn't you just hero power into that?
Right? That's what I was wondering a little bit about.
Right.
Well, you have a 5-5 and 2-1, but 4-8 already on the board for your opponent. And
Yeah.
now looks like a Mount Seller turn.
Yes, very much so. I like
You've got the Glowfly Swarm, but you don't have anything else to support that. Like your second. He only runs one Soul of the Forest, but still.
Oh, you're right. I was looking
Yeah.
at the wrong deck list. He does only run Soul of the Forest.
So I
Because
was
he
like-
does have that gift.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. That's probably what replaces it, isn't it?
Ooh, Zixor.
We take those. Does he go for even more?
I like it.
Knows
And
he's got the rush kill.
Because he's so close to the bottom of his deck, too, chances are he's going to pick up Zixor.
Yeah, it's pretty likely.
Should Firebat go one more with this Mount Seller?
He's got lethal on board already, so might as well go all out, right?
I love it. He's making sure in case there's any possibility that he gets bursted out of this game, which is unlikely because PNC hasn't been tapping or hasn't been using his tome.
Pretty much all the big board clear has been used to. No more Twisting Nether. He doesn't have Keldon anymore. Use one Crazed Netherwing already, and half of this stuff would live. So PNC in a lot of trouble in the game right now. I think you have to draw, right? Yeah. Okay. No spell damage kill available.
This is tough because the Zephyrs is still not active.
Right.
Maybe another case for why some of those one-up deck lists is even better because you get Zephyrs and Dragon Queen Ashtraza more consistently.
Yeah, very true.
I bring life.
All right. Yeah, just throwing the 8/8 out there, reducing your opponent's health. They've got some healing, but not a ton, I guess, in the Druid deck.
Firebat's 4 damage off from lethal.
Yeah.
Gift of the Wild off the top is game. And that is game!
Oh, wow. Finds enough
Firebat
damage.
rushed, he almost picked the wrong
Hurry.
card off.
Let's Dormu, please.
And
This is
a
a fast
big victory here for Firebat. We were not sure if Druid could actually get through because it had struggled throughout the day, but the different take on the deck list, playing a more traditional style of Spell Druid, Firebat ends up prevailing and getting a crucial Game 1 victory.
Yeah, that is big because, again, we kind of asked ourselves, well, he's got the Warrior. That's pretty much guaranteed for a win at some point in the series. But the big question marks were Druid and Rogue, and probably the biggest question mark out of all those. So to come out of the gate, get a win with the Druid right away, that's got to put you in a pretty good mental spot if you're a Firebat. Now I think you're feeling a lot more confident about closing out the series, even after that first game.
Yeah, and don't forget that the seeding in Division B's playoffs do matter in terms of their chances of being able to go for the play-in bracket as well. So,
right.
These players really do want to try and get that improvement. Even though people may look at this series on the surface and say what matters is Firebat versus PNC for relegation for purple and PNC, there's still stuff on the line here for Firebat as well. Yep. So that leads us to our final break of the day, Doa. When we come back, we're going to have the conclusion of the round robin here for all of Hearthstone Grandmasters. And we're going to find out who stays and who goes. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hearthstone Grandmasters is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network. T-Mobile.
Mm. これってハースストーンに乗りたいって意味でいいのか
Okay, let me think. 노자리요. 긴 비행 중에 체력이 딸려도 그 생명력 잘 채워줄 것 같아가지고.
我应该会选那个
那个死亡之翼吧，因为我觉得他那个动画特效特别酷，因为他骑上来应该也蛮酷的。
I'll choose Death Wing。ハースストーンのカードに乗るとしたらデスウィングに乗りたいですね。
デスウィングわかりました。
I want to ride Isra because I think his human form is really beautiful.
Cool.
Alexstrasza 是红龙。为什么？因为我只有想到这一条龙啊。Rich Alexstrasza 两个吗 ？Really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Welcome back, everyone, to Hearthstone Grandmasters. The end is coming. We have the
Wow.
final games of the round robin stage.
You make it sound so ominous.
It is ominous because in about like an hour and a half max here, we're going to have one player with no job in Hearthstone,
Wow.
competitive Hearthstone.
That is true. Someone's going to get eliminated.
That's right.
It's either going to be PNC or Firebat. No, not Firebat. He's fine. Or Purple.
Yeah, and it's never fun. You know, I hung out with PNC over the years, just randomly, like, you know, chilling or playing games together. You know, we hung out at the summit, and it's, you know, I enjoy talking to him. He's a super nice guy, very humble. Appreciate everything that he's done, not just for himself, but his community. But at the same time, he's been under fire, and he is on the chopping block, currently down 0-1. And then on the other end, you have players like Purple, who it feels wrong to have Grandmasters without him. Just like it feels weird to have like a Grandmasters without Colento and Some of these other players are getting relegated.
Oh yeah, we haven't even talked about the EU results today. That's crazy seeing Kalento get knocked out.
Yeah, and that's just kind of the nature of the beast, because I think with Staz and Samuel Tao getting relegated in Asia Pacific, and then Kalento and Pavel, the 2016 world champion. But it's time for the old guard to give way to the new, especially if the old guard isn't motivated. Kalento basically posted this long tweet longer explaining that his motivation had struggled because he doesn't necessarily want to compete on a regular schedule. He liked intermittently competing. So, with that, we do wish players like Kalento, Staz, Samuel Tao, and Pavel the best of luck, as well as Papa Jason, but who will join them right now in the auto relegation.
Right. Firebat 1 game ahead on PNC. It's the Rogue versus the Hunter for our second game of this series. First 3 wins. And Dwarven Sharpshooter, pretty common early 1-drop. If you got it, you play it.
Yeah. For the most part, that's like the defining thing right now about Hunter is how good of an early start can you get, because we know your late game is great.
Yeah.
Firebat has his suite of 1-drops basically, or early game plays. He's got Pharaoh Cat and he's got Spy Mistress. I think Spy Mistress is the best to try and threaten the follow-up play, which is a Fairy Dragon. Fairy Dragon is one of the hardest cards for Rogue to deal with, although historically they used to use Coin SI7 Agent. That's not really a thing that could be done right now.
Right. It's a thing of the past. Ingenuity brings in a big diving griffin. So I'll see what Firebat decides to do here. You probably want to think about setting up an Evil Miscreant play. You want to be able to use those lackeys too. It's a little bit of an awkward turn.
Very awkward turn, because you recognize that if your opponent plays a Zixor, you want to be able to use like Seal Fate and the 3 attack to kill that 4/6 Zixor.
Right.
If they have Diving Griffin, you want to use Seal Fate on that too. If you reveal anything, like let's say you attack with this minion, or you play an Evil Miscreant, you're risking the chance of that Scavenger's Ingenuity disabling your Sail Fate because it can immediately rush and attack it.
Just makes the hero power dagger and passes, actually. Saves everything he can. So this does mean it's going to be an Animal Companion turn for PNC. Alright, gets Misha. It's a 4/4, it's not bad.
That's great. That's actually like the best outcome here for PNC. Seal Fate now will cause Firebat to take some damage if he does choose to use it. So I think Firebat's going to instead use Evil Miscreant.
Yep. See if he gets a Kobold Lackey maybe out of this.
Yep.
And he does not.
Firebat is also aware that PNC is playing the Escaped Mana Saber list, so there is a potential that Firebat, or rather PNC, has that buffed Escape Mana Saber, which would be problematic if that ends up becoming the case.
Yeah, that's true. It's a good point. Oh man, you hate running your 3/1 into this, but what can you do, you know?
Yeah.
And there's Zixor.
Yeah, but the Diving Griffin is now here.
Yep, and it's huge. It's a 6/3. Aceless Corruptor, always nice pickup right before turn 5.
Yep. Completely manageable though. Go to Maniac and the Rusher. So Firebat's happy to see that. No Escape Mana Saber. Mana Saber would have been very difficult to deal with, and might have also just been. Oh, interesting. Firebat picks up the Cobalt Lack. That's great.
Right. So you coin into this on the Diving Griffin, and then you get to actually keep your Devoted Maniac alive. Not bad.
Right. And now you shut off the possibility of Faceless Corruptor, an often defining turn 5 for a lot of these mid-range decks.
And you set yourself up for your own Faceless Corruptor play.
He can if he Shadow Steps. Okay. This was weaker to Desert Spear, but I think PNC had an opportunity to play Desert Spear, perhaps, in his mind.
Maybe. What would you recommend here? So you've got, obviously, Dragonbane, not a stellar play right now. Zixor seems like the way to go, but you're not really clearing. Everything just seems so inefficient right now for PNC, even if you can use all your mana.
Yeah, there's a couple of things. The first is that you have to be mindful of your opponent's Faceless Corruptor. So if you play a Zixor, you're asking to get punished real hard.
Sure.
But Dragonbane is not exactly great either, and Dragonbane also might legitimately be your turn 6 play. So that makes me feel like the only play here this turn is Faceless Corruptor. If you do end up playing Zixor, you're just really hoping your opponent doesn't have a Faceless Corruptor. Or honestly, like, the problem with Zixor too is that it just kind of dies on board. So your opponent could also just play Shield of Galakron. Like, let's just take away the fact that we know the hand.
Sure.
If your opponent plays Shield of Galakron, you're also behind. But I guess in PNC's mind, if his opponent plays Shield of Galakron, then he has the Dragonbane 50-50 to climb back. And then he has, then he's turned the corner successfully.
It's very true. So we could see the Faceless Corruptor punishment coming in right now, which is exactly what we're going to see, maybe? Yep.
Yeah,
naturally.
This is big. Yeah. Big, big swing here on the board. And now PNC doesn't have a way to deal with it efficiently unless he picks up a 1-drop.
Yeah, even Dragonbane doesn't really clear that much, especially if you hit the 4-2. You feel really bad about that. Wow,
what?
that is perfect. That's perfect if he wants to clear.
That's so sick.
Huh. All right.
I mean, he
We'll take
took
it.
that risk, and it paid off. He said, I'm going to hope that Faceless Corruptor can still be relevant on turn 6 or turns afterwards, and he was rewarded.
I mean, it's got to be the, it's got to be the Battle Mage Faceless Corruptor. Nothing else seems very appealing, so he does manage to clear the board. Not terrible. Doesn't get to establish anything on the board himself, so he still kind of gives over to Firebat. Wow, that's a high spare and Togwaggle.
Well, he doesn't have the mana to play it this turn, but he
No.
can guarantee it the next turn with Shadow Step. Vendetta is interesting, but he doesn't have any cards from different classes, so I think he has to choose something else.
Right. I kind of like the secret just to grab some more cards.
Whoa!
Oh, dude. Well, that's perfect.
Yes, because you're afraid of one card on turn 7 from Highlander Hunters.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're worried about the brand coming in, but or the not brand, but his dinosaur. But if you've got the Bone Wraith, that wraps that up quite nicely.
That's such a good outcome here, and I wonder if that makes Firebat feel like he doesn't have to Shadow Step.
Probably not.
Yeah. So from
Or at least,
PNC's perspective, you know there's another lack in hand, so you don't have to play around the high spare Togwaggle. You just play Siamat and trade.
I wonder.
Seems likely.
How do you want to go about it? I guess you just do Divine Shield and Rush. Wind Fury here doesn't feel like it accomplishes much.
No, you just end up with a 6-2 then.
Right, which is easily picked apart on board. Your opponent plays High Baron and then double trades, and then you're sad.
Yeah, that said, like killing the first part of the taunt is probably still the priority, though. I agree. I think Rush and Divine Shield is the way to go. Yep.
At least it doesn't die on board.
Yeah,
What you're thinking about.
that is true.
Okay, so Firebat with his High Spear and Togwaggle. That's a big moment here. Being able to get the treasure. What treasure does he want, though? Wondrous Wand is great, but it's sometimes worth considering if you want to go for Xeric's Crown, because...
I don't know if we're quite in an era yet where people consider too many different things with Togwaggle. Maybe someday. Doesn't it seem like it's still like 99% the wand?
I would say about 95% the wand. Or maybe 90%. I would say every 10 games or so, you should consider taking the Xeric's Crown. But, I mean,
All right.
You might be right. It might be closer to 99 than it is 90.
I'm just only going off of what I've seen in different games. You've obviously seen a lot more games of Hearthstone than I have the last few months. But it is interesting to think about.
Yeah.
So, Shadow Stepping the Titanic Lackey gives him another big taunt.
It gives him options to fight against what all the tricks that Hunter might do and just start powering through.
Right.
It weakens Unleash the Hounds, so Unleash the Hounds can't just punch through either.
True.
Wow,
He's
double
also
Shadow
gonna.
Step.
Oh yeah, I like this because then he can guarantee himself a lackey on board for free to Togwaggle again.
Right. Just more cards. And PNC doesn't have any super high power cards outside this Dragon Bane right now, so
And this is
hope that this hits on the taunt.
yeah, it's at any rate, it might be a clear as long as it hits a minion. He's not so concerned about that. He's more concerned about getting 6 damage to face, which is what he did.
That's huge.
Yeah, that feels good.
Okay, Wondrous Wand.
Yeah.
Flick.
Oh.
Sap.
And a free
Shield
shield
the
to Galakrond? Wow. Yeah, see what minion you get. See what lackey you get, rather. And
That was 13 mana picked up, and he gets to play it all for free.
yeah, another Titanic lackey comes through.
Yeah.
Flick on the Tiamat is a little bit more bang for your buck, rather. All right. Do you pick something different this time?
I think you picked the Wondrous Wand, because now your out is specifically Galakrond, and then play Krogs afterwards, and you actually have lethal the next turn. So this is Firebat's big all-in push. PNC, even if he gets Zephyrus, wouldn't be able to guarantee clear. You would have to find Brawl off of that and get fortunate, unless PNC picks up Unleash the Hounds with Varanus.
Yeah, that's true. He'll have 9 mana. He'll be able to play it. If he draws it, he does not. Imprison Felma at the absolute wrong time.
Still a chance, though. Never count out the Dragon Queen Alexstrasza.
That is true. Could find that Deathwing. And that's really your only option here, isn't it?
Yes, and it's like basically Deathwing territory, because you're almost at full health. Okay. Another Varanus, which you should play. Malygos Aspect of Magic might give you like a 0-mana Frostbolt to help out with, because it's the only card I think is for free. Everything else costs mana.
I was gonna say, yeah. I was trying to remember what the cost of everything was. Looks like, or can you go for like a kill with the Fireball? Maybe. No, you're dead if you don't take the Frostbolt, aren't you?
Technically not. I'm just saying that if Firebat lands Galakrond into Krogs is lethal.
Yeah, true.
He has to specifically land Galakrond with the Wondrous Wand, though. Wow! Of all things, he picked the Malygos Intellect.
That is
not expecting that.
No kidding, yeah. What is he trying to draw for? Zephyrus, I guess?
I don't know, but 16 powers on the board here.
Oh boy. Well, Eviscerate, is that enough? I don't think it is. What, it'd be like 10, he's got 16 on board, so he would need another 7 from the hand. He's got 4 from Eviscerate. Evil Miscreant for 2 Kobold Lackeys.
Oh, he's trying to draw. He's trying to draw for the chance to win.
Alright.
The Grey Heart Sage finds other stealth minions, so he's just going to have to clear here instead.
Yep.
But he's got a big Van Cleef ready to go. Everything's going to be trading down anyways.
Yep.
Or does he want to trade? Does he want a Van Cleef, or does he want to does he want to shield a Galakrond? It has to be Edwin, right? It's just like,
how big would Edwin be? Would he be a 10-10?
At least. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely huge now. Oh my gosh. He's gonna be the biggest of Cleefs. Huge Edwin. 16-16.
PNC has
Unleash the Hounds. Does he get it? No. Oh, Veranda Scale Rider, though, takes care of the Van Cleef, doesn't it? Oh, no, because he wouldn't... Oh, yeah, he would still have a dragon in his hand. Yeah, he's okay. But does that actually save him?
Unless he wants to Malygos Intellect for a Zephyrus.
And Zephyrus would give you, at very worst, a Frost Nova, right? To delay.
Was PNC had a chance for lethal if he picked up a Fireball instead? I think he would have been a little bit off.
Well, that's what I was wondering when we were looking at his choices, if he would have maybe had a chance to just end it. Because it'd be 10 damage with the Fireball plus Hero Power, and then Scale Rider 3. Yeah, okay. He may have.
Okay.
He would have been
like
one off.
A big AoE clear opportunity that's gone now for PNC because he no longer has that Leash the Hounds.
Right. Or if he draws it, it may be a little bit too late. What kind of damage can Firebat put together?
He's got 9 damage on the board, 10 through Petty's Galakron, 11 through the Dagger, 12 through the Goblin Lackey. Still kind of missing here. He also has to answer the board. That's the big problem. So he can't necessarily just play aggressive here. He has to deal with it. If this draws also Galakron, is that lethal? Oh, jeez.
Ooh, he drew it. All right. So what about the weapon? So suddenly it's 10, 14.
Dark in the sky.
I think he's off by a little bit.
I think he's off by 1.
Right, because this gives him only 2 cards.
Oh, never mind. He's got it now.
And
oh, no, he didn't get the weapon. Never mind. I was expecting his Galakron to be fully invoked, but it wasn't.
Yeah. He was, he didn't have it fully invoked, but...
Yeah. I was
Firebat's gotta
expecting
go now.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's still clear at least.
Some suspect value trades there. That was...
Yeah. Zixor Prime looks like the play.
I don't know about that one, Chief.
Maybe.
I think maybe in Firebat's mind, he also thought he may have had fully invoked Galakron too. I'm not sure because he's holding like 2 of his cards that invoke in his hand.
Well, if you look at Firebat's face over the last like 30 seconds, he's looked a little bit bewildered. So, yeah, I do wonder if there was maybe a little bit of an error in there as well. Like he thought he was invoked. Because I feel like I'd seen like enough invokes go through, but guess not.
This would be quite amazing if the Hunter just wins, despite the fact that Rogue got 2 treasures, landed their Galakron. But I mean, Firebat has the Kronks clear right here.
Right. So it's definitely not over yet.
Definitely not over. Still...
Can't Shadow Step the Kronks, though.
Yeah, still possible for PNC to come back here, though.
Yeah.
Now we have Miscreant. Ooh.
Well, all right. Witchy Lackey, that's exciting.
Yeah, what do you use it on? 6 of the 3.
The safer one is going to be the Evil Miscreant, and hey, it paid off. Got the 4/4. Swamp Ooze. So I guess it's time to use Malagos's intellect.
Yes.
The brain of a dragon.
I think PNC was reading that Firebat had the opportunity to get that Galakron, so that's why he didn't necessarily take burn.
Sure.
But now he needs to specifically draw like his removal cards here. Like I think Dynamite Brand still might be the best draw because he could just use it to trade into the Kronks. No.
Oh, nope. Well.
Yikes.
Oh, that is not a great set of cards for what PNC needs right now.
Okay. Is there an alternative line here? Could we perhaps find a way to counter lethal? Let's say if we play Unleash the Hounds of Stormhair, that's 6 damage that can go upstairs. Then you can set up a Diamond Tamer Brand lethal.
Possibly.
If you find Diamond Tamer Brand off this tracking, I think that's what you go for. Okay,
Nope.
Zephyrs is also a possibility.
All right. Yeah, you definitely take the Zephyrs here.
Going face.
Oh my gosh, he's doing it.
So he's found a line.
So 4 damage from hand is what is required from Firebat here.
Unlikely, since he's used an Eviscerate already.
Exactly.
He has 2 Eviscerates in the deck, though.
He can Sealed Fate his own minions to invoke and try to find a Kobold Lackey, I guess. Or a
like
Goblin
that.
Lackey.
I will act as your scale.
He's going for the taunt, though. All right. I mean, that 4-5 does present a tricky situation.
He's so close.
Yeah, he really is.
Oh
What could
my
he be
gosh.
looking for from the Pharaoh Cat, though?
Firebat might be biting off more than he can chew here.
I mean,
If he stacks the board so high, he's making Unleash the Hound stronger.
he's doing that, and he's also making the Zephyrs play that much stronger as well, because he won't have a lot to recover with. Witchy Lackey.
Wait. There's 5 minions. And he'll play Unleash the Hound Zephyrus.
That might...
That's lethal.
I think so, yeah, because you get Bloodlust out of that, wouldn't he?
Yes.
Or no, would he?
Yes,
because
you
that's
play
5
Unleash the
mana.
Hounds
Yeah.
first, and you play that.
Right.
And he has the... Wait. Yes, he just has to trade in first.
Yeah. Yep.
And so PNC has found a way to swing it back, and Firebat off by 2 damage, and once again, leaving questions as to could this have been a game where the Rogue should have gotten that win?
Yeah, a bit awkward. Gonna find the Bloodlust, and that will end it, and that'll tie up the series too. PNC, again, fighting for survival in Grandmasters, gets himself a win and ties up the series.
That's
Gotta
why
be
it's your
stressful,
T-Mobile
but-
deck spotlight, Noah. Can't ever really count out PNC's Highlander Hunter.
You saw it all the way back then, at the very beginning of the day. You predicted the power of the Highlander Hunter.
That's right.
There can be only one in the T-Mobile deck spotlight, and it's PNC's.
Well, that was game 2, so now we're tied 1 game apiece, and it's down to the Demon Hunter Warlock versus the Rogue and the Warrior. Honestly, Rogue is unfavored against Hunter, so at least from our matchup data.
Sure.
Therefore, I'm sure Firebat was feeling like he was playing with house money there, but at the same time, when you're that close, it's got to sting. Got to feel like you were very, very, you're near victory, and you just needed to be a little bit tighter. Like, for example, I think there's this one turn where like Firebat was doing all the trades and stuff. I think if he just chose to go face with one of those minions, that would have been a difference maker.
Could have been, yeah.
And I think if he did that, PNC was more likely to also trade, unless Firebat was specifically playing around like a couple of combo cards, right? Like if they had Dire Tamer Brand.
Right.
I would like to think Corrosive Breath was used, but there's also a threat of Kill Command.
Yeah, that's one of those games where you look back at it and you're like, there had to have been some lethal there. I had to have missed something.
It's tricky because
Yeah.
sometimes you convince yourself that's the case, and then you forget that if you had changed any deviation in the line, you also would have lost. So it's hard. So it's easy for us to kind of sit here and talk about what could have been, but the players have to live with the consequences.
We always have the easier job, it's true. Yep. We're not getting relegated. Well, I mean, I'm only going to be around this weekend, but I wasn't relegated.
Yes, you weren't technically relegated.
Not technically.
Yes. You leave on your own choice, though.
That's right. I got better things to do.
You can't fire me. I quit.
Yeah. Well, we're back to essentially a best of 3 at this point between Firebat and PNC. Waiting to see what the deck choices are going to be with this. In the end, you need to get wins with everything.
So the Warrior again. I've still yet to be convinced that leaving up Warrior has worked out for anybody. The times where it has, it seemed like Warrior also had the opportunity to win, but it didn't win because of either some misplays or through the way things kind of either their opponents got bailed out.
Yeah.
Overall, I'm still convinced that Warrior is the big man. That being said, Firebat's going to go ahead and play his Calicron Rogue here.
Okay. And we have talked a little bit about this, but Firebat, one of the players, electing to bring the stealth package over the secret package.
And the stealth package tends to work a little bit better against decks that take more damage. So you're talking about, for example, this stealth rogue should be better versus Hunter than the other rogue lists.
Yeah, you would think so.
Right. This stealth rogue should be better against Warlock than the other rogue lists. It should be not as good against some of those other deck lists that you might see out there that can easily deal with it. I think, for example, if you know Priest is going to be popular, you shouldn't really bring that.
Well, he does get his matchup versus Warlock right now. PNC going to be bringing that. And we'll see if he can get the win, take the lead, put himself 1 win closer to staying alive in Grandmasters, not getting auto-relegated, or if Firebat put himself 1 win away from winning and bring Purple close to avoiding auto-relegation.
All right, so here we go. Game number 3. The turning point of this series. Who is going to improve to match point? One way or another. We're going to find out. Van Cleef kept the opening hand. Firebat immediately just keeps Galakron.
What do you think about keeping Galakron in this situation?
Against Quest Warlock, I think it's good. I think the matchup goes slow enough. And one thing that I'm kind of learning from that one series with Monsanto was that, having mid-game damage options and like pressuring the Warlock is a lot more important than the early game curve, because that's kind of what we were discovering with the double battle mage that got mulliganed.
True.
Yeah. So I feel like that's something that I've learned from that series. But Firebat does have the option to be aggressive here with this coin Van Cleef. Your opponent would specifically have to have Nether Breath or Dark Skies to answer it.
And there is indeed a Dark Skies in the hand of PNC. It flies out of there.
Yeah, that was a big punish.
Yep. You take the risk,
Yeah.
So simply hero power for Firebat. It's getting 1 more point of damage in. It's one of those situations where, because there's so much life tapping going on from the Warlock, that every point of damage does end up being fairly impactful. Life tap and what? Questing Adventure, or I keep saying Adventure. It's because that card has been in the game for years, but it's Questing Explorer now for this deck.
I mean, Firebat has all of his power cards. This might look like Firebat may kind of be struggling a little bit, but quite honestly, he has like his best cards in his deck: Krogs, High Spear, and Togwaggle, and Galakron.
Well, you just got done saying, too, correctly, that the strength comes in the mid-game, right? You're not so concerned about doing early-game damage. You're concerned about putting together your big Togwaggle turns, your big mid-game swings, and then forcing the Warlock to respond to that when things like a single Dark Skies aren't going to be as impactful. So, do you plot twist here? Does the plot get twisted?
I would like to think so here. I know PNC has been holding on to it. He wants like an Abyssal Summer to play proactively. That would be the main reason why he doesn't want to.
You're at 19 health, though. You've already taken a lot of damage. I feel like
I wouldn't say damage is necessarily something that he's concerned with, because I think he can heal a lot. I just think that Rogue is kind of clearly taking a passive role here, because Firebat went for early game pressure with that coin and it failed.
It failed, but at the same time, you're already sub 20 health. He's going to go ahead and pass the turn, though. So, playing a little bit more on the greedier side, Cobalt Lackey swings in for 2, and that's going to free up the Evil Miscreant. Witchy Lackey. All right, so a little board being established by Firebat this turn.
Yeah, I mean, that's significant. If this improves to a much better minion, which it does.
The El Clasico, Chillwind Yeti. I love it. And he's actually going to Shadow Step the Cobalt minion to get a turn 6 Togwaggle.
Right. So this gamble by PNC, again, to play the Abyssal Summoner, it's paid off because he's seen the slow hand developing from Firebat.
Yeah.
And so if Firebat wants to play his High Spear and Togwaggle here,
here we go. You can take out the 2/2.
Wait.
But that 9/9.
I was thinking about just killing the 9/9 here, like playing Cobalt. Okay. I mean, High Spear and Togwaggle was the first thing I was thinking of as well, but
yeah, there's already a Lackey out, so it's not like you need to play the Cobalt Lackey right now.
So the reason why I thought was because we can play Shielded Galakron, Praise Galakron, Cobalt, and trade into the 9/9. Then you can still play Titanic Lackey and High Spear and Togwaggle the following turn.
True. Firebat may be thinking that's a little bit too slow, and he's just going to throw a little bit of damage into the 9/9. Now a 9/8. Oh, this looks like it could get punished though.
If I'm PNC, I'm thinking, okay, well, he just showed he couldn't really deal with my 9/9. Let's just play another one.
Yeah, seriously.
So Mortal Coil can help you draw if you want to throw that into the mix, and then
Stay
you
at
can
10.
Abyssal Summoner.
I really like that. And Rogue is going to struggle against it. You know, Rogue doesn't have any board clears that target things that are such high health, aside from like, you know, Sap or something, or things that aren't in the deck like Vanish.
Another thing you can actually do here, and I'm just thinking out loud, is that you can actually complete the quest this turn with Plot Twist, and then you don't have to actually play the Abyssal Summoner, even though it's great tempo. If your opponent has Flick Skyshift, that's actually a way you can get Mega Punish. So
that's a great point.
Oh boy, okay.
He's
so
going for it.
If you, because the thing is, the Plot Twist allowed him to finish the quest, then he'd be able to hero power, and he'd still be able to dump a card most likely. But now, because of the time, he actually doesn't have time to Plot Twist. The animation will end.
Yeah, just kind of go for this. At least killing the Togwaggle means Flick wouldn't punish you quite as hard because you got more use out of the 9/9 anyway, but it's going to be the Wand. And what does he find with it? All right, Sky Vitir, Backstab. All right, Sage as well, Greyheart Sage, so... All right, a little bit of drawing.
Ooh, just a little bit off.
Yep, that's a bummer. That does make this this clear a little bit more difficult now.
Well, Galakrond has invoked twice now. Ooh, Goblin Lackey.
Oh, okay.
So now you can trade in for that card draw.
Yeah. Nice, really clean trade in. And
Sealed
draws a
Fate.
Sealed Fate. Okay.
So that finishes the Galakrond invocation the following turn.
Oh, Wing Guardian. That
That's
actually
a really
might
good
be,
outcome.
Yeah, that actually might be a little bit difficult for PNC to handle. Wing Guardian is going to be super annoying for this Warlock.
What?
Wow, Keldon off the top. Dude. Now he's thinking, all right, is there any way I can like push 9 damage before playing this?
Well, I mean, yeah, that would be great, but now you can kill it on and Plot Twist. Like,
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah, there's no... I guess there's no real reason to use a couple cards you don't necessarily need to just to get 9 damage through, because you're playing the long game, so...
The alternative is to play Morag Artificer, Rain of Fire, and Nether Breath.
Sure.
You gain health, you clear off most of the board, you keep your 9/9.
You just drew Keldon. Although the 9/9 might be worth it though, huh?
Yeah, it takes a lot of damage in the process. So it's not really a 9/9, it becomes a 9/7,
Yeah.
then it trades and becomes a 9/4, so it's increasingly weaker. But I mean, it's like you said, we get to keep that, and more importantly, you still get to hold on to Keldon and like use it for just spot removal, because it ends up being that he's gonna really need that Keldon versus the Wing Guardian.
Yeah, for sure.
So this is actually a very good deviation here from PNC.
I suppose it kind of comes down to a combination of a lot of things. It's like how many cards are you using versus the cards your opponent's going to need to use to clear the board, and you're gaining health, they're losing health, you're keeping their minions, they're losing them.
Right.
What's the plan now? Because he still has that Galakrond in his hand, and it looks fully invoked.
It's only invoked twice, I believe. So because he's played Praise Galakrond, and I think he's played a Seal Fate, and I think that's it. So he has the 2 invocations with the Seal Fate and the Shield of Galakrond, but that's part of the advantage of playing Morag Artificer in the Rain of Fire. Actually, by damaging his minions, he's reducing the possible damage that the Seal Fate can do. So if Firebat wanted to get through this, he would have to play Seal Fate and Faceless Corruptor in order to chew through everything.
Right. And that might be the case.
Going to evaluate the Lackey draw.
All right.
Wow, this is pretty greedy.
Yeah.
Firebat might just die.
It's possible. So Keldon takes out the taunt. Or you could do something like a Soulfire to take out the taunt. But then it's 11 damage through, 9 more. I guess Alex Strasza might be part of that. I don't know if he dies this turn.
Many possibilities.
He doesn't, but there's a chance for PNC to draw a card and then tap for another card to get the lethal.
Sure.
He had like 2 damage sources. I guess it's less likely because PNC already used a Nether Breath and a Rain of Fire. Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Oh, wow. All right.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow, that's such a clean clear, actually. That's side of the board. Yeah, easy
Wait, and he
trade.
also has Zephyrus. Wait. Hold
So,
on.
3 plus 9, so it's 12. That would take him down to 8. And Zephyrus could set up... If you do Zephyrus now, do you get a Pyroblast? Is that going to be one of the options? Yeah.
Will be offered a Pyroblast. I was thinking about
Okay.
Zephyrus and Wind Fury there, but I don't think there was any lethal opportunity.
Well, you wouldn't be able to spend it. Is he just not going to use it? Wow, he's not. All right.
Oh, jeez. Okay, backstab.
Yeah,
Evil Miscreant here.
Are you a little bit surprised he didn't... You know, I suppose the thing is if you go for the Zephyrus now, your Firebat knows you probably pick up a Pyroblast. Then you just Galakron for sure.
Well, he's just dead. I don't know, like if he doesn't Galakron, like if he spends his turn clearing with Faceless Corruptor, he's just gonna die from burst from the hand.
Right, you should have to Galakron here. Well, maybe not.
But
Uh-oh. Okay, well,
We are friends now.
hello,
Hello, friend.
friend. It's gonna be a short friendship. And so is...
yeah, well now it's guaranteed
yeah.
death. Before there was like this Soulfire Zephyrus dynamic, but I mean, Firebat took 18 damage
Wow.
from one card,
Huh.
and then he took 3 damage, and then he just died.
Yep. Do you think there was a bit too much greed going on there from the Firebat side?
I mean, when you keep Galakron in the hand and you had Kronks, and I think, I mean, it's easy to be results oriented, but it looks like
Sure.
he died with a lot of his best cards yet to come out, and it just always makes you feel like there was a better way to go about it.
I suppose sometimes you kind of get lost in the sauce a little bit as far as like making sure you clear the board every single turn. If your brain gets kind of like locked in that mindset, sometimes you might miss some of those bigger swing turns where you go for your win conditions.
Yeah, I'm sure Firebat would be one of the first people to talk about it on Twitter, about whether or not he feels like he misplayed. So I'll just let him handle that, since
I'm really curious.
he's pretty open and honest about it.
I look forward to seeing his opinions on that game.
Yeah, I gotta say though, it felt like that game could have gone differently. It did. I'm just gonna say that because there was even times where it's like, oh, you can deal with this 9/9, and then next turn go for the Heist Baron. Because the problem with putting your faith in the treasures, then all of a sudden you do leave it to a dice roll. Then you have to kind of get lucky and
True.
have it. And then the Abyssal Summoner tempo just kind of outpaced him. And also, good on PNC to like understand that that was the line. He didn't even finish his quest, right? Like he stuck to the tempo line and was able to win off of Rogue having a slow few turns. So I gotta tip my cap there to PNC, and that was a good spot there to recognize what Firebat was doing and was able to capitalize on it.
Right. Firebat has had enough of the Rogue. 2 losses in a row is too much for him. Swaps over to the Warrior to try to stay alive in the series. Draws
this
Ankar.
is a good matchup for Warrior if they have Risky Skipper, but
In the shadows.
Firebat does not. He has Anchor instead.
Right. And Ankar would be nice, except that he's frozen and he can't swing it. There's a Risky Skipper.
Wow, Risky
But-
Skipper, Armor Smith, Battle Rage naturally. That's
Exactly.
crazy.
It's a good start anyway.
Yeah.
Got Warmaul Challenger able to take that out. He'll take it.
Is it
Chaos
cold
Strike though.
in
Oh
the
no.
shadows?
Another frozen Shadow Weaver. Pretty annoying to deal with.
Yeah, it's annoying to deal with, not the end of the world, but if Firebat does the thing that I did, which is set up the weapon, he's going to get mega punished. PNC's like, okay, set it up. Do it.
Yeah.
You know you want to.
Yeah, you'll get to use it next turn. Don't worry. You've seen both of my Shadow Weavers. I can't stop you from swinging.
The PNC knows that.
Oh, and
Yeah,
he knows he draws a
Firebat's
weapon.
too good to get baited. That's just me being bad.
Yeah, but a lot of people would. You know, a lot of people would say, okay, the freeze is gone. I can play the weapon. You're gonna need to play a weapon at some point, but the lance might be the safer option to get wrecked. Yeah, extra metamorphosis. I'll take that. Sounds good to me. Nothing like having 2 of a legendary spell in your deck.
Okay, well, with the Livewire Lance, Firebat has the Armor Smith in hand, so he's not going to be sweating too much if he goes down to even single digits, because the more lackeys he generates, the more this impactful Armor Smith turn with Risky Skipper is going to be.
Yeah.
But PNC does have this Acidic Swamp Ooze.
Does he use it now, though? Because you know Ankar is out there somewhere. But that is a slightly buffed Livewire Lance. It does have that +1/+1 that it wouldn't otherwise. Yeah, and he's going to elect to clear that.
Yeah, I like it because it
Maybe.
puts the Skull of Gul'dan on the left side.
Yeah, that's another good point. That's another good benefit of that. Unlocks it going into turn 6. Which could be important if Firebat isn't able to develop much of a board. 12 health already for Firebat. Man, this game is going fast.
I'll show you who's
Time to stabilize.
Armor
Yep.
made to
Wow, such a huge turn coming in here. And
Oh,
now
yeah.
Firebat can clear off and gain a ton of armor. I think it's worth tossing in this Faceless Lackey as well.
Yep, why not?
Chances are you're going to have at least 1 minion survive, so Battle Rage at least draws 2.
Well, maybe you're going to clear with the Brute? No, okay.
Wow!
Not bad. That is an amazing 2-drop.
Yeah, the Felguard. It's a replacement for the Succubus, if I recall correctly, in Warlock. I haven't really seen
Yeah,
anyone
it's-
play that card, though.
Well, it's nice when you get it for free without the downside.
So now PNC has to figure out, okay, I got him down to 12, but then he rebounded to 22. Do
Yep.
I play Warglaze and try to clean this up and then Skull afterwards? Or am I going to try and Skull and pick up the pieces after?
You can clean it up, but you're going to take an insane amount of damage doing it, too.
Demons? Demons.
A lot of his good opportunities are just a little bit too expensive.
I think Warglave's cleanup duty is probably what he has to do. Your opponent just committed a ton of resources
Sure.
to try and answer the board, and if you leave it up, you do give a possibility that Battle Rage basically gets them back into the game. Because Warrior, when they don't have access to good Battle Rage, they lose a lot. They lose basically their ability to keep up with the amount of resources they put out.
Yeah. It's a necessary evil, but he does clear the board. Oh, well. Ankar time.
Yeah, and this is, you know, an opportunity for Ward to start being aggressive now.
Oh, for sure.
Sky Raider?
Sky Raider, all right. Oh, Sky Vatir.
Sky Party.
Yeah. Sky Party.
Is it better
Hard drop
to
party.
Warmaul Challenger, though, now that you have, like, a 110 and you know that you're likely to draw the Risky Skipper next turn? Although, actually... Let's see, hold on real quick. Yeah, so the pirates he has in his deck are Risky Skippers and Sky Raiders. So it's a 50-50 next turn. Yeah, I like this because it sets up for better Battle Rage.
Yeah. Do you Skull of Gul'dan here?
I mean, if you don't, what else are you gonna do?
Exactly.
Metamorphosis. That feels pretty...
What are you going to do? Kill some armor or like a 1-2?
Well, I'm going to think about it for a sec. So Metamorphosis this turn does 6 damage. The next turn you have 8 damage through the Twin Slices. So it's 14 over 2 turns.
Semi-tempting.
Yeah.
Ooh, but now you have the Glavebound Adept.
Oh, jeez.
And so he could just be setting up for more burst.
Oh, jeez.
Metamorphosis, Glavebound. Attack with the weapon, hero power.
Yeah, Firebat picks up a risky skipper, and this game blows wide open.
Yeah.
Both players can find ways to win the game. Does depend on this 50-50 though.
Yeah. No risky skipper yet. Does he get it? Oh.
Don't leave us hanging, spectator client.
Where is it? Oh, okay, it was it. It just got pulled out of the hand so fast that it didn't even get there.
Right, he like caught it midair and held it. Now
Your flaws are your strength.
he's gonna go for a massive battle rage for what? 6 cards?
That is huge. Wow. Jumped up to 8 cards, pretty much drawing the rest of his deck.
True power.
Oh jeez, and now he has
That's a wow.
lethal with the Grom inner rage next turn guaranteed. So now it's at the PNC to generate 17 points of damage.
Is there a way? I am having my doubts here. Because you could... I think the most you could do, what, 5-4, so it'd be 9 plus... I think 10. I think 10, well, plus a Twin Strike. Or Twin Slice, rather. So I think he's just short. I think he's about 5 damage off here.
Yeah, in his mind, he probably has to go for Metamorphosis, I-Beam, and then probably even consider Spectral Sight, but he has to like hope that in 2 turns he can do this. But we know that with the weapon in hand and the inner rage on Grom, it's guaranteed lethal up to 15.
Yep, and I-Beam will heal you up to exactly 15. So you're probably not going to have enough.
Time grows short. I grow impatient.
Final moments of this game here. PNC gonna try to squeeze in the damage.
Now I am complete.
And we kind of know that if he had played Metamorphosis the previous turn and committed to that damage, he still would probably be short, because if this turn he played Skull of Gul'dan, he still wouldn't have damage, I think.
Right.
Oh, he had Twin Slices, though. I'm not sure.
Well, the Twin
Hard to
Slice...
say.
Yeah, if he had gotten a little bit more damage in there early, maybe it would have been the case. But any way you slice it, no pun intended. Firebat going to be able to get the win and tie up this series 2-2.
All right, one final game to determine it all of PNC's fate here in Grandmasters. Will he survive, or will he end up falling out? Firebat's going to take a little bit of a bathroom break, it looks like, as PNC is now going to queue up his Demon Hunter, but this time he's going up against Rogue. And honestly, I think this is a pretty even matchup still. Like, people look at the Demon Hunter deck list, and statistically, it's still like the top class in Hearthstone right now. But in terms of its matchups, it still seems pretty evenly matched against a lot of Rogue decks. It might have a slight edge, depending on who you're asking for, or might be slightly unfavored. Either way, I like the Stealth Rogue a lot better than the Secret Rogue, because the Stealth Rogue actually has minions to play to control the state of the board. While Secrets, you kind of hope that your opponent doesn't have the right answers to your secrets.
Yeah. Again, in the Demon matchup specifically, I agree that actually having the minions out there and having a little bit more control about when they engage in combat because of the stealth and everything that goes with that maybe gives you a little bit more of an edge. But taking a look at PNC's Demon Hunter, the deck that he will have to win with if he wants to stay a Hearthstone Grandmaster, this is it. Relying on the newest class in Hearthstone to save him.
It's come down to this final game, and I think the weight of it is really starting to come down on everybody involved. Purple, who's watching, obviously PNC, who's playing, and even just the fans who are kind of watching along. It's a tough week for a lot of Grandmasters here.
It's crazy.
Now it really comes down to this final game of a matchup that is really down the middle with, you know, you can't really say definitively if it's favored one way or the other here.
Right, yeah, it's hard to predict. It comes down to a lot of different things. Obviously, the draws, the lackeys that Firebat gets. PNC, you know, how strong of an early game is he going to find with this Demon Hunter? More importantly, maybe how strong of a mid game.
Yep. It's going to be really, really hard if PNC does not get off to a good start. And Rogue does, because I think in this deck list in particular, they are so good at keeping up the pace with the Demon Hunter.
Right.
I would just think that Stealth Galakrond Rogue front loads a lot of its power versus some of the other ones kind of create more like power towards the back end. Like especially the normal Galakrond versions of the Rogue, because they tend to not have that many early drops inside of Firebat.
Yeah, true enough.
And so with that, we are ready to go here. Final potential game here for PNC on broadcast. Either way, a Grandmaster is no longer after this game of Hearthstone.
PNC or Purple. The fate of Purple rests in the hands of Firebat. The fate of PNC rests in the hands of PNC. And with this mulligan for PNC, wow, what a start for Firebat
here. Oh, man.
It's a Sky Party.
Oh, yeah. The Spy Party or a Sky Party. Either way, PNC does not want the invite. Full mulligan for 1-drops.
Oh, it's a surprise party. Oh, no. What? PNC just sinking back in his chair. And oh, no. 4 5-cost cards. You could not draw a more expensive hand. Well, the only way you could do it is with both of your Skull of Gul'dan, but tragedy.
Not like this, Doa.
Not like this. No.
Oh.
Well, it do be like that sometimes. And Firebat, no idea, but he will learn soon that the hand of his opponent is
okay.
Not going to be strong. Okay, all right. He does find the beaming sidekicks. That's something.
Okay.
Oh, still rough though. Ugh. All right. Well, looking at Firebat's options here, obviously another Sky Vatir is nice. You set yourself up for a lot of hand refill, a little bit of damage, and 3 health is honestly challenging for Demon Hunter to deal with early on. So, 2 of them out there. Another beaming sidekick.
You know, PNC not playing his minion earlier, but now he has a beaming sidekick to attach things to.
Yeah.
Interesting. You know, Firebat is like, what is going on? What a draw! The Greyheart Sage off the top of the deck. You gotta be kidding me.
It hurts to watch. This is physically painful to watch. Battle Fiend comes down, nothing like a turn 4 Battle Fiend into your Battle Fiend immediately dying. Maybe with Warglaives of Azzinoth, you can start to turn things around a little bit, but
I think that's what he's banking on here. Warglaives into Glavebound, and then like he has a Battle Fiend as well. So what he could do is Warglaives, Glavebound, Adept, and Battle Fiend on one decisive swing turn, and hopefully Firebat fizzles out. He's also, I think he's not playing things like beaming sidekick. He doesn't want to give like any kind of seal fate or backstab opportunities. So
right.
And also these 1/2s, quite frankly, aren't going to do anything on the board.
Yeah. Either way, it's a pretty rough scenario for PNC. Decides to go for the Battle Fiend just to maybe try to take a little bit of the pressure off, you know?
Hey, I got you, friend.
Wow.
Yeah, just trying to
so
say, hey,
interesting, but poor PNC. This is like not. This is absolutely not the start that's ideal, but he's not going to give up.
Yeah. All right. More damage with the Eviscerate in the hand of Firebat. Now the Spy Mistress going down.
So this this Eviscerate takes up 2 mana, which gives him 1 more mana to play, which means that he can use Pharaoh Cat here.
Right. Just to get rid of the battle.
Oh wait, no, he can Shadow Step the Greyheart Sage.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. Yeah, takes it down to 1 health.
That is sick.
That's really strong. And he gets a card draw? Man.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
that's kind of what this deck is doing. It's playing like a zoo, like, control the board and then keep up that card draw. And I mean, PNC, like, again, he's not under big threat yet, but like Rogue is cruising through the hardest part of this matchup, which is the early game. Usually, when you get to this point as Rogue, you're at like 15 health. They have a Warglaze ass not equipped. They're sweating.
Yeah. Seriously. Well, here comes the Warglaive. And he can clear, most of the board, everything but the stealth at least. And the one saving grace for PNC is that he hasn't lost a ton of health just yet. Debating on whether or not he wants to use the charge. You're giving your opponent so many cards too, though.
How do you bail yourself out here? I think, he obviously doesn't want to use a swing on just a 1/1. But do you swing face here for that damage? Will it be that difference maker? He holds.
Looks like he waits, yeah.
And if I'm Firebat, I'm looking at that juicy Faceless Corruptor and thinking, is there any reason for me not to do it? He does have another Grey Heart Sage, which doesn't get much value if he parts ways with this Spy Mistress, I think.
Right. If he attacks, it looks like it'll be the Faceless Corruptor play. Yeah. As he loses that stealth, yeah.
So hard to deal with. Like, yes, you PNC can clean it up, but Warglaves, I mean, he takes 8 damage in response.
I mean, you can take 4 damage and then use the Gravebound Adept to kill the other one, I suppose, but...
Right.
So at least you only take 4, but... And you do establish a 6/4, so... It doesn't feel good, but... At least you've got an answer, Deciding on whether he wants to use that last attack. The Shrug...
I mean, he gets an extra attack here. Technically, like, the Warglaves is totally fine just to save as well, because if you attack a minion, you get to equip another Warglaive and continue where you left off. But this is bad. This is still really bad here.
Yeah.
For PNC. Backstab. Miscreant is a possibility here. Oh, he's just Flick. I love it.
Oh, no. Yeah, I mean, that'll take out the Gravebound Adept in the deck as well.
Yes.
And that takes out one of the major threats that PNC still had left.
Okay, but this is a lot of damage. Okay, this is a lot of damage over the course of 3 turns. He's got Warglaves plus push this turn.
Sure.
Then he's got Metamorphosis the following turn. Then he's got Metamorphosis Kane on that last turn. And that's 4? Sorry, that's 5 because you might Chaos Strike here, but in case he doesn't. It's 4 guaranteed this turn.
Sure.
10 over 2 turns. And then Kane Sun Fury for 3 plus the 2 other Warglaive swing. It's possible.
Yeah,
there's still a possibility here.
Skull of Gul'dan also gives you a few more options anyway if you want to play that. Yeah, okay. Clears the Flick, 11 HP though. It's going to come down to the wire here. But you are right. That Shadow Step is such a great draw for Firebat though. That gives him a lot.
It really comes down to whether or not Firebat can put on enough aggression here. He finds a Titanic Lackey and a Cobalt Lackey. Those are the 2 best lackeys.
Oh,
PNC hates to see it. He needs to get damage to the face.
I mean, if there's only 1 taunt minion, then at least you can still get some damage to the face with your weapon.
Yeah, but the thing is, Firebat has Shadow Step, kind of like we were talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that is back-breaking. So now PNC needs more help from the top of his deck. It's like you were saying, though. PNC has that life reserve. 11 health. Still feels like it's doable.
Sure. It's so rough. I mean, Skull of Gul'dan not on the edge. Doesn't get the outcast from it, which is what you kind of need.
I think this might be a scenario where you might have to try and see if Skull can set you up for maximum success. Because Metamorphosis here isn't setting up for anything. Because if you Metamorphosis in Kane, you're still short a lot of damage.
Like you're saying, maybe if you skull into like an Altruist and then things that activate off of that.
Yeah.
You can.
Well, okay. If you Metamorphosis and Hero Power, you put your down to 14. Next turn, you have Kane plus Hero Power plus attack, so that's 4 plus 5, that's 9. Plus the attack is 12.
Oh, wow.
It's still short.
Oh, hey. Twin Slice. Oh, and a freeze, too. So, well, Okay.
So if he went for the Metamorphosis line, I think there was a chance for him to actually win next turn if he knew Twin Slice was his next card.
Well, that's the case, and Kane would have negated the taunts, of course. Oh, no. All right, so 3 damage, 4 damage theoretically on board for Firebat. There is Galakron. Obviously, High Spear and Togwaggle is an option 2.
Yeah, so he has 3 damage to the board, 4 from the Praise Galakron, 5 from the Dagger, 7 from the Kobold Lackey.
Ooh, yeah.
I think he's just going to go ahead and Seal Fate and kill off this board here. This is... Like, Firebat doesn't have any way to close the game, so he's just going to go ahead and set up for the best possible board. Another Titanic Lackey. Doesn't actually do anything here.
Finds the Faceless Lackey. All right. Going for the draw maybe with the Sage?
There's no stealth minion, so he's just playing it for tempo.
Oh, you're right, you're right.
And then he can backstab. And the final turn here, the deciding moment of PNC's Grandmaster's career.
Is there any way you can put together 19 damage from this? Obviously, 4 of the mana would have to be Kane.
Alas, poor warlock.
Which he can't pay for anymore. Twin Slice?
Wow.
No.
Wow.
That ain't it.
It's not it. No Altruist. And if PNC had committed to a line where he had complete faith in the top of his deck, it actually would have worked out for him, believe it or not.
Yeah, I think the Metamorphosis would
how
have
do you
given him the
anticipate
damage.
that?
Oh, that just hurts seeing Altruist right there.
These cards are so good if they were in the hand.
Oh, what a nightmare.
And
That's it.
does it. Firebat takes the series 3-2, improves his record to 5-2, ties for first place in the division, and simultaneously, from what we understand, has saved Purple from relegation, and instead PNC will be the second player automatically relegated. We'll go ahead and wait for the admins to give us the final approval and keep for that. But last time we checked, that was the standings.
Yeah, like you mentioned, wait for the final say on that one. But that was a crazy last game. It was a really rough start for PNC. There were moments of hope in there, though, but it was just a little bit too close in the end, and that's one of the things where you're in that situation, all the pressure coming through. You gotta, like you said, trust in the top of your deck sometimes, and one card at the wrong time meant that PNC couldn't put together the lethal for that final game. Firebat takes it 3-2 for our last match of the division play.
Yeah, so close, and it's not over. Another player gets relegated, but there's still one more spot that has to be vacated before the new Grandmasters get ushered in. And on the other side, you got to be happy for Firebat, who ends his season tied for first place. There's going to be some tiebreakers, so he might not end up being first place. But Firebat is... Oh, actually, sorry. He apologized. He's tied for second place. Zelay actually went 6-1, so it's impossible for him to do so. So he ended up getting that victory and tying Muzzy for second place.
Indeed. So, Zelay on top of Division B, Eddie in a 3-way tie on top of Division A. And down at the bottom, Monsanto and Nalgidon going into the relegation bracket. PNC and Papa Jason exiting Grandmaster. Purple saved by Firebat.
Yeah, but his job isn't done yet because Purple gets only one series to stay in Grandmasters, and it will be the loser of ETC versus the loser of Monsanto and now Gnon.
Yeah, that's very true too. That's another thing to kind of keep in mind is that everyone going into that relegation bracket is not out of the woods just yet. They have to still fight for survival.
Yep, that's right. So, wow, quite a heavy moment here in GM as PNC has been with us since the beginning. He went to the global finals last year at BlizzCon,
right,
as the season 1 winner. But I mean, he also talked about some of his struggles as a player. You know, had dealt with a lot of anxiety competing. Even though he was at home, it was still tough for him to kind of just be on camera, and he kind of was one of the first players to admit that he wasn't playing well. But overall, got to be really proud. You put together quite a career, and if PNC chooses to keep competing Hearthstone, we'll go ahead and wait for that from his side. But in the meantime, you got to tip your cap to a really storied legacy here in Hearthstone.
I mean, and you and I both have some StarCraft 2 background, and you remember the old GSLs where players were getting relegated every season, and you did see like the best players sometimes struggle like that, but then come back. So in Hearthstone Grandmasters, you've got the same sort of deal where being relegated, being kicked out of Grandmasters with that isn't necessarily the end of the line.
Yep. So with that, that brings us to the conclusion of this week, Doa.
Yeah.
We have playoffs coming up this weekend, which, we'll see if TJ will be back by then. But in the meantime, thank you so much for joining us this week. You want to have any final words to send us off?
Not a lot. I mean, man, what a weekend to sub in for TJ. Hopefully I did him proud. I did the best I could. It was a crazy weekend of matches and a lot of drama. But I think, one of the most fun things was just seeing Quest Warlock and what it could do. But I think this set up a really exciting week next week. So even if I don't come back again, even if TJ is back in action, I'll definitely be excited to watch.
That's right. So we'll be here covering you and guiding you along the way. But if you missed any part of this broadcast and you want to check out what's ended up happening, I always, of course, go back to the VODs here at youtube.com/Hearthstone Esports, as well as all the standings, deck lists, and other updates regarding the format and how Masters Tours will feed into Grandmasters and all that shebang. Go to playhearthstone.com/esports. That does it from us. Week 7 is in the books. When we come back in Grandmasters later this week, we're going to find out who will be joining us in the global finals and who will be vacating that final spot in Grandmasters. From Frode and Doa and everybody here as part of the GM program, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time for more Hearthstone action.
Hearthstone Grandmasters is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network. T-Mobile.